We're gonna start this video off by reading One for My Enemy by Olivie Blake. I've read the Atlas 6 by her and loved it, and I love her writing, so I'm excited to give another one of her books a try. The only thing I know about this book is that it's like a Romeo and Juliet modern retelling, and the artwork in her books are always literally gorgeous. This says, in modern day Manhattan, where we lay our scene, two rival witch families fight to maintain control of their respective criminal empires. So I feel like this will be fun and a nice little author I've read before to start us off, and then we'll get into different authors. I have to immediately take this off. Okay, I'm excited for this. I haven't read Olivie Blake in a while. Oh no. There's like a list of characters, which is good, but at the same time it's like, that means there's going to be a lot of people I have to know, and I struggled a little bit in the Atlas 6 with like 6 people. I will be returning back to this page probably multiple times. Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my goodness. I love it. Oh, I love it. Last night I ended up getting about like 25% into One for My Enemy by Olivie Blake. I don't know why I said the author, like we already established that, but it just kind of rolled off the tongue. I'm on page 105 and I'm really enjoying this. I could potentially, I know it's early, but I could potentially see this being a 5-star. Maybe. I don't know. I'm still very early into it, but I'm enjoying it so much so far. I just want to keep reading it. It's very different than anything I've ever read, but I feel like that's kind of why I like it. So like I said, it is a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet. So you're kind of seeing these two rival families that are both magical. Like the women are witches, and I believe the men are like fae as well. Like they can do magic as well. And they have like rival businesses. They've been rivals for a very long time. So they just kind of like have this feud going on, and then you meet the two youngest in both the families. So the youngest female is Sasha. She's going to NYU to get a business degree, I believe. She's trying to like help run their family business. And then I think it's pronounced Leva. I just call him Lev, and like a lot of people just call him Lev. He is the youngest in their last names are hard to pronounce, so I'm just not going to. In the male family. So they actually meet without knowing who the other one is, and they don't realize that they're rivals. Their families are rivals, and they start becoming like friends, and they have like this little immediate attraction to each other, and they're developing a friendship. That's where I am right now. That's like at the beginning of the book. There's a lot of other stuff that goes down, but that's kind of what you know at the beginning. Obviously I feel like they're gonna fall in love and like be rivals. I mean, it's literally based off Romeo and Juliet, so we can kind of see where it's going, and I'm very interested to see how that's going to play out. I love it so far. I'm enjoying every second of it. And I think it's like in third person, but I don't mind it at all because you get so many perspectives. You get Sasha's, you get Lev's, you get the two owners of the two separate family businesses, you get the two oldest siblings, like you get all these different chapters. And the way that this book is laid out and like structured is so interesting as well. So it's kind of similar to how you would read a play with like, instead of chapter numbers and titles and stuff, it's like act 1, scene 1, and then act 1, scene 2, and like in each act has like a quote from Romeo and Juliet, and then each like chapter within the act, it's like act 1, scene 1 basically. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. I just think that's such an interesting layout. I've never read anything like this, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to continue reading it, and I'll let you know my other thoughts. But I'm very, very excited and very, very entertained and pleased right now to be reading this book. We need to talk about this because I have a lot of thoughts. Yes, I did get it on my Kindle, first of all. We can't be mad at me though because it was on Kindle Unlimited. It was free. So I literally had to. This is a hardcover. It's hard to read at night. It's heavy. Kindle Unlimited. It was free. That's all I'm going to say on that. Continuing. I am 50% and I feel like I have read an entire book already. And I'm confused because I feel like it could almost end here. But we still have a whole nother 50% left. I have no idea where it's going to go. so much has happened. So much has gone down. I can't even tell you because obviously there's spoilers. Hold on. My dog is coming upstairs to join us. Here he comes. Okay. As I was saying, so much has gone down, like literally so much. And maybe if you know the play of Romeo and Juliet, you would expect some things to happen. I don't know because I have not thought of that play since probably middle school. So there might be a lot of similarities. I know how Romeo and Juliet ends. I have no idea if this is going to be similar or the same or not. I'm so confused though because there's literally so much left. I feel like we could be done. I'm a little bit worried that I'm not going to like the second half of the book. I feel like it's going to feel dragged out because I'm like, literally, what is there left to do? I don't know. I'm just going to continue reading it, hopefully finish it soon. Guys, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, this book is taking a not so great turn. I'm about like 70%, I think more like 68%. And the amount of time it took me to get from 50% to 68% is astronomical because it just got so slow all of a sudden and I was bored. Unfortunately, it's starting to pick up a little bit more, but I'm just like, what was the point of certain things? Like, what was the point? But I'm not like losing interest. I'm still gonna finish it and read it. I'm just like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to finish this tonight like I was planning on doing because I'm literally so tired. If it's like kind of slow, I don't think I'll be able to like stay up and read it if it's not like holding my attention, you know? So we'll see. I'll either finish it tonight or finish it tomorrow. There's my little update for now. My stomach just growled. I'm hungry. First of all, it's the next day. Second of all, yes, I'm in the same shirt I was in yesterday. This is literally my comfort crew neck right now, so you'll probably see it often. I've already worn it multiple days in a row. I've washed it a few times, don't worry, but I do wear it a few days in a row before I retire her. So, moving on. Third of all, I did not finish the book last night. I couldn't. I was laying in bed trying to read it, trying to finish it. That was my first mistake because I immediately fell asleep. It did pick back up a little bit at 70%. I'm at 78% now, so I'll probably finish it literally right after I'm done filming this clip. I just don't think I like the direction it's going in. Like, I get it, but I don't like it. And I'm annoyed because, like, we know certain things that the characters don't know, and I'm just, like, annoyed because if they just told the other characters, there would be less conflict. But it's, like, so annoying when, like, you know, but the characters don't. It's just annoying. That's all I can say. Okay, I am gonna try to finish this right now because I'm just kind of tired of reading it. Not gonna lie. And I'm so sad because at the beginning it was gonna be 5-star. I'll talk about that later though. I need to stop ranting and I need to finish. Let me turn on my lights. Okay. Cute. I should have had those on at the beginning. I don't care that much to refilm that entire clip, so just pretend they were on. Okay, it says I have an hour and 26 minutes left. Update. I finished this a while ago. Actually, I wanted to collect a few of my thoughts before I just started like word vomiting to you guys and it not make any sense. I did enjoy this book. Unfortunately, it is not a 5-star. I don't know what it's gonna be rated yet. I need to save that till the end of the video so I can like really set on it and let you guys know. And I'm a little bit conflicted on like my final thoughts and feelings on this book because I did like it, but I just wanted it to like hurt me more emotionally. Like, I expected it to like rip my heart out of my chest and stomp on it, and it didn't. And I'm like disappointed because it didn't. Because like I know Romeo and Juliet is like a tragedy, and I was expecting that level of tragedy in this book, and like I was expecting my heart to be breaking by the end of this book, and it just didn't. And it very well could have, and that's what like annoys me a little bit. Like the back and forth that went down in this book, which I won't spoil obviously, that just got on my nerves and definitely made me less interested in the book. Also, it was just really long. I feel like it could have been so much shorter. I personally love Olivie Blake's writing and like her distinct style. It's like she's always trying to be really deep, And I love the quotes. There's a lot of good quotes in this book. Like, it's very pretentious writing. You're reading about pretentious characters. Like, it all makes sense. The dark academia of it all. It makes sense. And I enjoy her writing a lot. I can very well see how it can be annoying or just like unlikable for some other people. I like it though. So the writing didn't bother me at all. I actually thought that was like a good part of the book. Like, her books just have like this feeling and like this vibe to them that I like. It's just the plot was lacking. I feel like there wasn't really, like, there was a plot, but I feel like it wasn't executed well. And it's really just for like the vibes and for the characters and like that kind of stuff, which, so if you don't like those kind of books, you wouldn't like this. I still think it was good. I'm glad I read it. I'm a little bit bummed out about it, but what can you do? We're just gonna move straight on along to A Dark and Drowning Tide. I actually was sent this book by Aardvark Book Club, I think in like September, but I was waiting specifically for November because it is dark academia meets fantasy, and that just seems perfect for me. I think this is also like enemies to lovers, if I recall. Actually, I don't think I ever read the description of this, so I don't know where I got the whole enemies to lovers thing from. Maybe that's just wishful thinking because I love words. Because I love enemies to lovers. I'm just gonna go right into it. Like, I'm not gonna prepare myself. Maybe that's not the best route, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna be honest, yesterday I tried to read this book and I only got to page 20. I'm literally on chapter 2. 20 pages, and then I just couldn't get into it. I think it's just like I was tired. I don't think it's because of the book. I mean, I really can't judge it because I'm literally 20 pages in. We're going to try it again today. So far, we're literally introduced to like 3 characters. We're following Sylvia and I think Lorelai is her name. Yeah. They both go to the same school and they have the same professor, and they're both kind of like running for like the top spot in that class. They're kind of academic rivals, I guess. They don't get along at all. Sylvia is kind of more just like free-spirited, willy-nilly, and Lorelai is very like strict rule follower, trying to like keep Sylvia in line. And right now they're heading to like this important event with their professor, and that's literally all I know, because I am 20 pages in, so I need to read some more. That way I can actually update you guys with a full synopsis of like what the book is literally about. I'm gonna try to read. Hopefully it goes better today and I can actually read it. I got to page 90. I'm on part 2 now, but I'm tired, so I am going to call it a night for today. I do think it's picking up and like I am reading it a little bit faster. I still think I'm reading it slow, but I think it's just because it's fantasy and it's like a lot of backstory and a lot of setting up. I feel like the whole like first 50 pages was a lot of setting up and backstory, but now we're kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of it all. There's been a murder. I'm here for it. So okay, I'm ready to give an update on A Dark and Drowning Tide. So you know how I said so far we only know Sylvia and Lorelai and their academic rivals kind of competing for like the same thing right now. So there's actually 6 people who go on these like expeditions trying to find the Ursprung. They're trying to find that for the king so he can use it. I don't really know what it does right now. And so they're like going on these expeditions, and then pretty soon, I'm pretty sure it's like night 1 of the expedition, they're all on this boat. The mentor is found murdered. Lorelai finds her murdered, and then Sylvia quickly is on the scene and she sees Lorelai, so they kind of like come together to try to figure out who murdered their mentor. So that's kind of like the gist of the book, and so far there's like been tension and banter between Sylvia and Lorelai. They're very much like common enemies right now. They're trying to work together, but they also kind of don't like each other, but at the same time they kind of do like each other. It is pretty interesting so far. It's reading very similarly to Emily Wilde's series, if you've read that book or that series. It's very similar to that. It's like very information heavy and just like a lot of like those same vibes, and like you hear about little fairy tales, you read about like folklore stories of their world, and you learn a lot about the magic and everything involved in their lives. So I do want to get a little bit further into it, and hopefully we get some more tension and like some more romance soon. Okay, it's been a while. I just got to part 3 and I must confess something to you guys. Earlier today, I did get the audiobook for this. And here's the thing, it's just because the world building and like the magic system and all of that is just very, very hard for me to like grasp. Earlier today, I like got to like 50% and it was like a little bit of a struggle. And I know it's not the book, I know it's me. I just don't know if I'm like used to fantasy like this where it's like actually hard to comprehend, because like I don't read too much fantasy. I read a lot of like beginner fantasy. So this feels very different and it's like kind of hard for me to comprehend basically. So I did get the audiobook. That has helped a lot, and I just recently sat back down to read the physical copy and I got to part 3. And I do understand it a lot more after like going from the audiobook and then back to the physical copy. It's just, I just don't know if this is like for me. I do like it. It's just I'm not obsessed with it. I don't know if I like the main girl, Lorelai, that much. She's kind of annoying. Sylvia, I love her. She's a gem. It's literally like Grumpy Sunshine. It's just I really don't like the grumpiness of Lorelai. And like we get her POV and I'm just kind of sometimes annoyed with her. But I love Sylvia. Like she can do no wrong in my eyes. She's precious. I feel like the twist is kind of predictable. I mean, I was just kind of not caring too much to guess it. I just figured, I don't know, sometimes I'm like that and I just don't care to guess who the murderer is basically. But I did feel like at one point it was kind of obvious. The banter is good though, I will say. I just don't know if I believe the romance. Like I like their like banter and like how they communicate with each other and like they're funny and all this stuff. It's just we've gotten a romance scene and I'm like, I don't know. I don't dislike it, but I'm not like obsessed. I don't know. But it is good. I just think it's a little too much world building stuff personally for me. It took a while to like get into it, and I feel like the plot is very dragged out. I'm going to probably finish this tonight, hopefully, and I will come back with my thoughts. I finished this yesterday. I just ended up listening to the audiobook for the rest of the book and finished it that way because whenever I tried to like read it in the physical form for a long time, it just like got boring to me. I really needed the audiobook to just push me through. I just didn't really feel connected with this book, to the characters, to the romance, to the world. So I'll save my rating for it at the end. I still kind of like want to ponder it and think about it some more, but unfortunately, oh, I also wanted to say another thing. I do not feel like this was a very dark academia book. I mean, yeah, like they're on a mission to find something and like they're all in an academic setting usually, but right now they're not because they're on this like expedition. So I feel like I was lacking the academic part of it and I just didn't get dark academia vibes really. But yeah, that's the gist on this one, so let's move on. The last book we're going to read in today's video is a very infamous dark academia book. I always see this one when I'm like researching dark academia books and I've never read it, and it is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I believe it's like Shakespeare inspired and there's like a murder and it's dark academia. Like that's literally what I know and everyone loves it from like what I've seen. I feel like I look insane. It's just because I've been laying here for like the past hour. But I just got to part 2. No, act 2. This is Shakespeare inspired. We're in acts, like a play. So far nothing major has happened, and I'm just like waiting for it, because at the beginning of the book you find out that Oliver, the main character, is about to be released from prison after serving 10 years. Hello? Rude. He's about to be released from prison after serving 10 years, and the investigator who I believe put him in jail or was involved in the case, he's asking Oliver to tell him what really happened 10 years ago, because he believes that Oliver is not telling him the truth, and he wants to know before Oliver is released from prison. And Oliver agrees to tell him. So that's literally all you know, and then you're like thrown into Oliver's life from 10 years ago, where he is a student at this like prestigious acting school, and there's literally like only 7 fourth years. They're all fourth year students at this point, because each year the school like drops a bunch of students that like aren't making the cut. It's kind of crazy. So I believe there's only 7 of them left, and they're doing a play for like their semester, and you're kind of just learning about all of these characters and like their life at the school right now, and you're kind of just following their semester. And it's very, very Shakespeare inspired. Like you're literally reading lines from Julius Caesar. Is that the play? Is that what it's called? I'm not a Shakespeare girly, although maybe I will be turned into one after this video. I think they're doing like Julius Caesar or something. You're literally reading lines from the plays, and they also like speak to each other in, what is it called? Lines. Like lines, I'm just holding the book up all this time. They literally speak to each other, like they'll like, okay, how do I explain this? I'm not a theater person. My sister's like shaking her phone watching this because she is a theater girly. They talk to each other, like they literally recite lines from plays to each other, like randomly. Like lines that like fit into like their conversation. It's so interesting. Like imagine just being able to like pull a line from a Shakespearean play that perfectly fits into the conversation. Like that's wild to me. I don't know if anyone else think that's like kind of cool, but I think it's cool. Like you could potentially get annoyed by it. I like it. I personally like it, and I don't even mind the whole like paragraphs of full-on scenes we're getting from plays. I like it, and it's just very interesting, very prestigious, dark. I'm liking it. That's all I gotta say. I'm interested to see like what happens, like who dies, how do they die, how does Oliver go to prison, like does no one die? I think someone has to die, right? Like it's literally, they talk about tragedies, and that would just like flow perfectly into the storyline. So I'm pretty sure someone's gonna die, and I hope it's not who I think it is, because there's also like, I feel like there could be romance. Okay, I need to stop because I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading and I'll update you, but I'm enjoying it so far a lot. I'm on page 178. I'm almost 50% into the book. I'm still really enjoying it. It really just feels like a character study of like all of these different people that attend this prestigious art school. Like they're all like kind of pretentious and unlikable, but that's what makes you like them. Like it's very similar to the Atlas 6 vibes, where like you kind of don't like the characters because they're all pretentious and like know-it-alls and like kind of bad people, but then you like get to know them and like you can't help but like kind of like them. That's similar to this, and like things are happening that I'm confused by, and I'm confused because I really feel the tension, and I feel there's something there between 2 other characters, but nothing's happened yet, and I'm like, am I making that up in my head, or are we supposed to know that there's like an underlying thing between them that neither of them want to admit? I don't know, but it's getting dark, it's getting twisted. There has been a death, and I still don't know like why Oliver goes to jail. Like we still don't know that. I'm so still curious and like hooked in this, so I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, it's been a minute since I've talked to you guys because I got sick while I was finishing this book and my voice was completely gone. Like, I could not talk. It hurt my throat to speak and I sounded terrible. So I did not film like any of my opinions towards the end of this book, but I honestly like just sat in bed and finished the rest. I think it was like 40% or something in one sitting while I was sick. And I think I did have like one clip of my reactions towards the end of this because this was crazy. The ending, I was just so not expecting it. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. I do have to say I really loved this book. I've like been teetering on the edge of 5 stars. I honestly I think I'm just gonna give it 5 stars because like that was like my first initial reaction or opinion of this book was to give it 5 stars. I don't know why I'm like hesitant to. I really don't know why, but I think I am just gonna end on a 5 stars. Like, I really enjoyed this book and I'm learning that I'm really becoming a dark academia girl. I love it so much. This book was so good. It was definitely what I wanted in like these 2 books that I'll get to in a second. This was like perfect what I wanted in dark academia. I was so entertained. It is less of like a plot. I mean, there is the plot of like you're trying to figure out this mystery why Oliver went to prison, but you're also just following these characters, learning about these characters and going through their journey throughout their school year. And that in itself was like so interesting and entertaining to me. All of like the characters' relationships are also a big part of the book, and that again was so interesting. And you're just trying to figure out the relationships, like there's like tension, there's arguments, like they're also like a family. Like, it's just so much that I was just hooked on the characters. And then the Shakespeare of it all, I feel like if you knew Shakespeare, or if I knew Shakespeare a little bit more, you might enjoy this book more. You might understand some of the metaphors, some of like the similarities, comparisons, all that. I don't really know Shakespeare that well, but I was still able to understand and follow the plot, follow some of the links and stuff. It wasn't like too overly annoying, all the Shakespeare quotes. I don't think you need to know Shakespeare. I don't. And I understood it and I liked it. And I just feel like this is a book that you kind of want to reread. I kind of want to reread it maybe in the new year and just see if there's anything I missed. So I think I am going to end on a 5 stars. This was definitely my favorite out of these books. This one just felt like the most dark academia vibes. Like, it's in an academic setting. I like how Shakespeare was inspired in this one. I do really like One for My Enemy as well, but not as much as this one. This one, like I said, just fell flat in the second half of the book, and I didn't understand why it ended the way that it ended when it's supposed to be Shakespeare inspired as well. I'm ending on a 4 star for One for My Enemy. I just wish it was like a little bit better at the end. It's still Shakespeare inspired, but like it's a lot less in your face. Like, you definitely don't need to read Shakespeare to understand this one, and it's a lot more just like simple. This one is a lot of Shakespeare, like heavily. There's straight up scenes, there's straight up quotes. This one isn't as much, and it's a lot easier to follow, in my opinion. And then this one disappointed me. I think I'll end on a 3 stars for this one. I wish there's like more academic vibes in this one. Like, yes, they're all students. Yes, they're all on like this expedition for their professor or whatever, but it just didn't feel like an academic book to me, and that's a big part of what I like I said, the academic setting. And it just felt more like fantasy with like a little bit of dark twist. I wouldn't consider this really to be super dark academia, but I think just because I had such high expectations for it to be like super dark academic vibes, that it fell flat for me in that sense. Like, I was in the mindset for like something like this and I got this, so it's like I obviously didn't love it as much. I feel like if I didn't have such high expectations for it, I would have liked it a little bit more. These are all the books that I read in today's video. I definitely want to read more dark academia books, so let me know if you have any recommendations, because I loved it. I think this is going to become one of my new favorite genres, so I'm super glad that I tried this genre out again. And let me know your thoughts on any of these books if you've read them, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already so you can see some more videos from me soon. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video.